Welcome everyone to another episode of Ground Pass. This is going to be a mini pod. I am on location in Indian Wells. Wow. It is awesome. I found a quiet corner that I could talk and record this episode of the pod that is going to be out on Monday. So if you're watching this, I'm recording this on Sunday, which is the 9th. So Sunday the 9th, this will be out on Monday the 10th. It is also my last day here on the grounds at Indian Wells, and I'm so excited to be recording live. Not live, because you're not getting this as I speak, but just being able to be here on the grounds and recording this episode, because this episode is going to be all about my experience here at Indian Wells, my tips and tricks for you for coming next year. I have a few. Also tackling the word tennis paradise. What is it really? We keep saying it. What does it mean? I was able to talk to a couple of people about what tennis paradise means to them. And I think by the end of this, I'm going to be able to define it for myself. So stay tuned. If you haven't already, please subscribe to this podcast. If you're watching it on YouTube, like, subscribe, do all the things. It really helps out the channel and also getting this in front of more people. And hopefully these tips and tricks will be super helpful for people who are coming here next year. Because Indian Wells is a very special tournament. It should be on everyone. If you're a tennis fan, I think Indian Wells should be a destination for you no matter what. So I have my notes here. Let's get into it. This won't be too long. Right now, when I'm talking to you, it's 11 o'clock. So play has just started. Like, the players are about to arrive on court and start warming up and stuff for the day. So that's where we're at in our day. So we'll make this quick so I can go cover the tennis and watch some tennis myself, as it is my last day here on the grounds. You might not know this, but I was not sure I was going to make it to Indian Wells this year. I came last year for the first time. It was an awesome experience, but when I was planning out the tournaments I wanted to go to this year, Indian Wells was in there, but it was not a sure thing, and I made a very last-minute decision to come, and I'm very happy I did. I think coming here for the second year in a row, almost confirmed that Indian Wells is just going to be a constant destination for me. It is a really great spot to not only watch tennis and experience tennis, but as a tennis podcast, it's a great place to like connect with people. I have met so many other journalists, creators in the tennis space. A lot of brands are activating here. So it's just the place to be, almost like Grand Slams. If you notice, just before a Grand Slam, all of a sudden, all the new brands are coming out with new ads, and, the players are debuting new outfits and things like that. Indian Wells is very similar to that, and I think that's really why they call it the Fifth Slam. It does feel like a mini slam in a way. I mean, the grounds are smaller, obviously, than, say, the U.S. Open. And the U.S. Open really is my only reference. I don't know how these grounds compare to the other Grand Slams, but there is a feeling here of it being a mini slam. All the top players are here. All the brands are out here activating. Most top journalists and, content creators are here on the ground. So I think as Ground Pass grows in this space, and this is a little bit behind the scenes here, but as Ground Pass grows in this space, I think it's important to be at these tournaments and cover the sport, and then be able to bring you guys more insights into these tournaments and tips and tricks of how to come and what the best deals are and things like that. So I think it really is important that we're present at events like this, and that's why in the end I finally decided it was worth it. It was worth it to come out here and experience it and bring that story to you. I said a little bit that's a little bit behind the scenes. If you are subscribed to our Substack, you would have been seeing me doing this and talking a little bit more in depth about the behind the scenes of the media process and just what it is like being on the grounds covering a tennis event. I think if that's of any interest to you, definitely subscribe to our Substack. I kind of have a very honest, just talk and chat every day that I'm on the grounds about like what it was like, what I'm doing, what I'm seeing. And I think that's very insightful. If that's your thing, I think I'm a huge fan of behind the scenes of anything. So it was what I thought I wanted our Substack to cover, and it's been really great, kind of breaking all of that down. So again, whenever we're on site, that's what we're going to be doing, sort of giving you a behind the scenes peek of what it's like covering a tournament. Looking back at my notes here, quick highlights. Let's see, quick highlights of the tournament. I think, in general, this is a buzzing place. I think the only day that it was maybe super quiet was actually, weirdly, day one of the main draw, which was Wednesday. Qualifying was buzzing here. I was pleasantly surprised because I arrived here last week Sunday, so I've been here a full week. So I was here for all of qualifying and then the start of the main draw, and it was buzzing here for qualifying. And I think it just shows what a great experience qualifying can be, the qualifying tournament of these big 2-week events. Entry into the tournament was $10 for those 3 days of qualifying, and you got to experience everything that Indian Wells has to offer. So there wasn't any sort of shortchanging. And here's the thing, most of the top players were already here practicing. I think the only person who really wasn't here for qualifying was Carlos Alcaraz. He was doing an exhibition in Puerto Rico, so I can't even remember exactly what day he landed here, but he definitely wasn't here for the early days, but everyone else was here. Like, all the other big players were here and practicing. And, so if you came for qualifying, you got to see the big players practicing, even though it wasn't a match. And then you also got to watch some great tennis, only for $10. I think it's a ticket that can't be beat. In the U.S. Open, obviously the U.S. Open beats it because it's free at the U.S. Open. But this is a close second. I think more and more tournaments are going to make a bigger deal, I think, of the qualifying rounds. And I really do hope they keep it at a very low entry level for ground passers, because I think it's a great way for new fans to come into the sport when there is a low barrier to entry and you're still getting the high quality tennis and the experience of it. I think that's awesome. And mostly the big tournaments can do it. I understand the smaller tournaments maybe can't take that load of making their qualifying bigger events. But maybe there's a way they can do it, because I think it really does help the product a lot. And the fans here definitely enjoyed it. So yes, the first 3 days of qualifying was bumper. And then that middle Wednesday was kind of, it kind of died down a little bit, but then from Thursday on, it just upward trajectory in number of fans, the activities going on around. There's a main stage here where very shortly they're going to start playing music and stuff, so I'm going to get this wrapped up before that starts because it's right over there to the side. But yeah, the grounds have really been buzzing. I think yesterday, which was Saturday, was the most packed it's been. There were lines on every single court. Every single court had a line. And here's something the tournament's doing, actually, that I loved, and I didn't realize they were doing it. So I was here last year, and typically the grounds open an hour before play starts. Last year, during the middle weekend, because of the amount of people coming, it got, people were stuck in traffic to park and then trying to get onto the grounds. And unfortunately, some people missed matches because of that, because they were arriving maybe right at that hour or an hour before the play started. So this year, they're opening this middle weekend. The grounds are opened 2 hours before play starts, and that's why you can see behind me it's been a bit crowded than maybe if people were just coming in now. I think it was so smart because it just helps funnel people through quicker, especially a day like yesterday where there were lines on every court, and so you could just tell the amount of people who were actually here on the ground. So yeah, the vibes of this tournament are fantastic. The weather has been Okay, for a New Yorker, yes, it was chilly, but for me, that was just a spring chill, if you know what I mean. So it was warm and sunny during the day, and then at night, it dipped down a little bit, so maybe you could wear a cute little cardigan or jacket. And what I've realized is that's not everyone's bag. You had players in tights and, fans coming in puffer jackets and hats. I saw gloves. The moment I saw gloves, I was like, oh, we're not in New York anymore, because that weather was not glove weather in my humble opinion. But yes, it did dip down during the night over the last couple of days. This is the warmest day I've had here today. It's the warmest day for sure. I had my cardigan on when I first came in, and I was like, ooh, I need to take this off. It's going to be pretty warm today. So I think the temperatures will still dip down a little bit at night, and I think it's something you should just be prepared for when you're coming out here. Don't come out in just your short shorts. You'll be cold. What else So players, how has the actual tennis been? I think I just given you the general vibes of the tournament, but how has the tennis been? The tennis has been fun. The tennis has been really fun. Qualifying was exciting. I think the most exciting qualifying sort of run was Colton Smith. Colton plays for Arizona, is his university, and he's a college player coming up through the rankings. He won the Cleveland Challenger, which was in the end of January. It was kind of like post-Australian Open time. So he won that Challenger, came in here, went through qualifying, got to the second round. Like, he had a really good run here. He was a good story coming out of Indian Wells, and he's someone I will definitely be following in the future, and just see how he goes throughout the year. Really great kid, too. Got to interview him in the press, which was really funny. He had only started drinking coffee 3 weeks ago, which I thought was hilarious. His coach was there in the interview, and he was like, yeah, he's only been drinking coffee for 3 weeks, and now that he's playing on tour a lot more, he says he needs it. And, I hope he gets a good coffee education, and we get him some good coffee, so he enjoys the experience of getting into coffee, because not all coffee is good coffee, in my humble opinion. What else? A lot of upsets, a lot of seeds going out, starting with, Casper Ruud out of the tournament, Alexander Zverev, the number one seed, out, Novak Djokovic out of the tournament. It was a bit of a bloodbath in the seeded department. They're all headed out, and it's always interesting, I think, post-Australian Open, how people handle that transition. We've had the tournaments in the Middle East, but it seems, and also the Golden Swing, for example, but it seems like Indian Wells is really kind of, okay, we're back after the Australian Open vibes. So it's interesting to see what the top players do, and it's been off and on. Some of them are on. Madison Keys did not lose a step. She hasn't played since the Australian Open, won her first match back 6-3, 6-love against Anastasia Potapova, so she's just cruising through. Another person I asked about coffee. In fact, I will insert her answer here about her coffee love. I would say she is someone who, if you follow her on Instagram, you see she's always posting an espresso that she just made or anything like that. So when she was in pre-tournament press, I asked her about how she likes to make her coffee, what sort of different ways, and she had a very, very awesome answer. So I will leave that here. Slightly stepping away from the tennis, I noticed that you are a big coffee person and you have a great espresso machine. Do you have a ritual that you do? And other than espresso, do you have any other ways of brewing coffee that you love?
My husband and I are avid coffee drinkers, and it's kind of, when we're at home, it's definitely just kind of our routine to start the day. And I always really enjoy it, especially on a weekend when I'm not rushing out of the house to go to practice, to be actually kind of go through the steps and enjoy it. But no, we have basically every way of brewing coffee. So we could open a small coffee shop out of our kitchen. We have the pour over, the Hario pour over. We have multiple mocha pots. We have French press. We've got it all. So if you're ever in the area and you need a cup of coffee, you can come to our house.
But yeah, back to the tennis. I think some players, Carlos Alcaraz did fine in his first round match. So some players have definitely, they're keeping the momentum going, and then others is a bit of a stop-start. I think, for example, like Alexander Zverev after the Australian Open, it's kind of been fascinating watching his progression because he hasn't had any. And Alexander Zverev is someone who people always talk about, it's like, does he have the mentality to win? How come he always gets to the final rounds of, Grand Slams and he just can't get over the line? Is it all in his head? It must be all in his head. And it's something that I haven't really bought into per se, but this post-Austrian swing he hasn't been injured. I think maybe there are reports that he might have been sick in Acapulco, but otherwise it's actually been fascinating just to see him crash out tournament after tournament. And I think I'm learning a lot too that the mental side of tennis can be so much stronger than almost the strokes themselves. You know what I mean? It's not all about forehands and backhands. Sometimes it's all up in here. But yeah, so that's been the tournament. The tennis has been great. I've been watching a lot of doubles. In fact, my first day, Wednesday. Was it Wednesday? Maybe it was Thursday, but I think it was Wednesday, yeah. I can't remember the day now. It's okay. But I do remember starting and ending a day with doubles. The women's doubles started first. Men's doubles is starting today, Sunday. So, yeah, the doubles has been really great, just following it around. And people love it here, by the way. I'm going to keep shouting it from the rooftops. Riley Opelka. But people have loved the doubles here. The crowd, the courts are always packed, and that's great. And so this is also interesting about 2-week events. So this is a 2-week event. The first week, it was back-to-back matches on all of the outside courts. It was super busy. You were just going from court to court to court. Really exciting. As we approach this second week here, most of the singles players are going to be playing on Stadium 1, 2, and 3. Stadium 4 if they need to. But doubles is taking over all of the other smaller outside courts, and that's what it's there for at these 2-week events, is to fill out the outside courts over the 2-week period. Because imagine if it was only singles. What would ground passers be doing? What would they be watching? I have to also, though, point out this is an awesome tournament for ground passes. Awesome tournament for ground passes. It gets you access to every single stadium except for Stadium 1. And there's a big screen. I can't really, it's kind of on this side. I don't know if you can see it behind me here, but this big screen shows all of the matches and stuff. Mostly Stadium 1 will be in the big center. And so if you're a ground passer, if you really want to watch Carlos Alcaraz, who will always play on Stadium 1, you can sit out there and watch him. But, for example, Coco Gauff was playing in Stadium 2 yesterday. And a ground passer can go in there and watch that. Taylor Fritz was playing in Stadium 2. Tommy Paul today is starting in Stadium 2. So this tournament for ground pass, it's definitely worth it. So that's been the grounds, the tournament. It's been really great. For me, I think I've really enjoyed my time here. I've not had a bad time at Indian Wells ever. I've been tired. Covering a tournament is tired. Subscribe to our Substack to find out how tired I was. It's definitely tiring, but I've not enjoyed myself. So I've thoroughly enjoyed this tournament. And if you see me looking down here, I just have my notes, so I know what I am talking about. But yeah, it's been really great. I've also met some really fun people here. Again, trying to get a vibe of, I know I enjoy this tournament. What do other people think? What is their version of Tennis Paradise? I met up with one of my friends, speaking of doubles, Will Boucek, who sat down with me, and I asked him what he thought Tennis Paradise meant and why Indian Wells is known as Tennis Paradise. So I'll insert our little chat in here now. Hi, Will.
Hey.
Nice to see you in California.
You too.
Tennis Paradise. So the reason I'm doing this is for our first episode, pre-Indian Wells, we were talking about Tennis Paradise. Like, why is it this place that people just love, players love it, fans love it? We all call it Tennis Paradise. And I can't define it. But even when I got here, I was just happier all of a sudden.
Yes.
But for you, what does Indian Wells mean to you? And is it Tennis Paradise? What do you think about that phrase?
It is. It's a very good fit here. Today's not representative of that, unfortunately. As I'm here in like 4 layers in my puffy jacket, I've been going
context,
to
you're
this.
Colder than I am.
I am. I'm from Texas, so
I'm from New York.
I've been going to this tournament. This is my 5th year in a row, I think, and this is definitely the coldest day I've ever had. So out of probably, I don't know, 40 days or so, this is the coldest. So it's never been like this is very unusual.
That's so interesting because I was here for qualifying and it was colder.
Really?
Like it was pretty brutal actually.
So so I think that kind of shows you a counterexample, I guess, of what it means, because it's never like this.
Yeah.
So the weather is typically excellent. It's sunny. It rains maybe like one day out of the 2-week tournament.
Right.
At best. And it's like one afternoon for a couple hours. It's nothing bad. So it doesn't rain a lot. And if you are just obsessed with tennis like we are, it's second to none.
Yeah.
Like the practice courts, like we're here on the practice courts right now. The fan access on the practice courts is better than anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Or anywhere I've been anyways. The match courts in all the stadiums are like pretty good size.
Right. A little bit on the practice court, because I noticed something
Yeah.
the other day, and I wonder if you agree. Are the crowd at Indian Wells, are they more tennis savvy? Because the other day, I was at practice court, packed. Like, it was packed, and people still respected the, keep quiet, only get up in between points. Like, it was weird, because I was like, wait, it's just a practice.
Yeah. So I think the answer to that is yes, and I've got a theory on it.
Okay.
So people will go to the U.S. Open from New York for just like a day.
Right.
You won't come here for a day. Like nobody, few people live here, and the people who do play tennis and golf all the time.
Right.
Like play tennis. There's tennis, there's golf, there's hiking, and then there's restaurants that close at 8 p.m. Like that's it.
That's it.
Like there's nothing else to do.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to be obsessed with tennis or golf, or I guess hiking. And that, else there's no reason to come here.
Right,
So
right.
I think you have to be super into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought, because it was quite fascinating that there was that level of
I'll come up there in a second.
knowledge.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah, that's good.
But okay, great. So I had the same thought.
I think so. That's my theory. I don't. It makes sense to me. I went to the U.S. Open the last 3 or 4 years, and I had some friends living in New York who just came for a day.
Yeah.
And they're not tennis people, but they'll go, they'll have a drink, they'll watch a few matches. Here, there's not that. Everybody's obsessed with tennis.
Right.
So.
Okay, cool. I can't talk to you ever without mentioning doubles. So, how's the doubles scene? What's happening at the doubles tournament here?
This is probably the best doubles tournament in the world.
Okay. In the world?
Probably,
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
You get more singles players playing, which is a lot of fun. There's this big doubles debate going on, and I don't hate singles, and I'm not in a fight with singles players. I just want doubles to. I'm not trying to take some of the pizza pie from singles. I'm trying to grow the pie for everyone.
For everybody, yeah.
Including mainly doubles. That's my focus, right? So you get a lot of the singles players playing because it's a quicker format. They're not having to play best of 5 in the singles. And you still have the days off in between singles matches, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then the tennis, everybody's here, we just talked about. Everybody who is here, all the fans are very tennis savvy.
Yeah.
And they tennis savvy people seem to gravitate towards doubles, I think. So today was the first day of doubles, as the women's doubles started today. The men's doesn't start till Sunday. And I couldn't get into any of the matches, basically, without my
It was packed.
my
Yeah.
credential.
Yeah.
If I was just had a grounds pass, I wouldn't have found a seat
Right.
on every single one of them. And it's always like that, every year. This tournament, especially Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you can't get into a lot of the doubles matches. It's very, very popular here.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you for chatting with me and letting me know what Tennis Paradise means to you while we continue to watch this highly entertaining doubles practice.
Doubles partnership here.
Yeah.
So you'll see a lot of them practice with teams, like we just did with Jamie Murray and a couple other guys. But this is one team practicing on one court, and they're going cross court. So you'll see both in doubles. There's a lot you can learn at the practice.
Specific?
Yeah.
By doing this triangle, as I would call it?
Yeah, so you can see he's feeding from the middle of the court and then moving forward. So he's working on his first volley here, and then he's coming in. So they're specifically working on that first volley.
Nice, okay.
So feed, ground stroke, first volley.
First volley.
And then the second volley. But they'll never play more than one or two volleys. They're not going to get into an extended rally because it's a waste of time. You're trying to end the point when you're getting to the net like that.
Right. That's another thing I've seen at Indian Wells. Just because, like you said, the practices are so accessible, you get to watch these players, and I've been seeing a lot of drills, and I don't know exactly what all of them are and what they're doing, but that's interesting.
You can learn so much. Yeah, the way to look at it is watch the drill they're doing and ask yourself, how does this help in a real match situation, right? And it's okay, well, he's hitting a volley from around the service line. Oh, he probably serves and volleys, so he's probably working on that first volley, if you asked him that, maybe he'd say something different, but that makes sense to me. I think that's what he's doing.
Right. So okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. Thanks, Will.
This was a lot of fun.
Probably see you at another tournament somewhere.
Yeah.
We'll keep talking doubles.
I'll be in New York. We'll do it again.
Yes, obviously.
Awesome.
It's always great catching up with Will. I learn so much about the doubles game, catching up with him. He's responsible for getting me way into doubles and realizing exactly what I was missing. I think doubles, I've always watched doubles here and there, but never made a concerted effort to kind of follow the players and see who they all were. But I've really started following. Hi! But
Yo, bro. No.
you're throwing it at me? Aw. But it's been really great, following the players more, getting to know them better. And that's how you understand the game more. But yes, Will, I think, had some great points about why Indian Wells is known as Tennis Paradise. So let's wrap this up by talking about my tips and tricks for going. What's going on? So let's finish up by talking about my tips and tricks for coming to Indian Wells next year, because this year's done already. By the time you listen to this, we'll be going into the second week, and tickets will be mostly for Stadium and Stadium 1 and Stadium 2. But what happens when you want to come here next year? Here are my tips and tricks. I wrote them all down so we can chat. Number 1, get tickets early. Get your tickets early. Ground passes sell out at this tournament, and when they do, they go on resale for a lot of money. So the moment you know now. If you know now, hey, next year I'm coming to Indian Wells, what you should do is go to the Indian Wells website and sign up for their newsletter. I know you don't want to sign up for yet another email. I get it. Do our Substack, definitely, but also put your email in there, and what happens is you get updates every time the tickets are about to go on sale. So, they announced, I think I got an email from BNP Paribas Open. I think it was in fall, after the US Open was the first email I got about tickets and really early tickets. So yeah, I would definitely look and they don't put them all out at the same time. I think they start trying to sell their packages first, and then they move on to other levels of tickets. So definitely pay attention, go to their website, definitely starting in January, looking for when general admission ground passes are coming up, and then just get your tickets right away. The first week will sell out super quickly, especially the middle weekend. So that will be there. Middle weekend, it's the busiest time. It's going to get crowded. It is going to get crowded, and it's a tough one because I don't mind crowds. I think they're fine for me, but getting to and from courts, especially yesterday, for example, can be a lot. It is a lot of people. My tip for that really will be coming early, getting to the spots that you want to, maybe make a schedule for yourself, maybe, I'm going to be on court 2 to start the day, and then I'm going to move to court 4 for the afternoon, or for the night sessions. Make a plan, stick to it, and there's always going to be a match that's going to call your name, you hear something's going into the third set and you want to run over, but guess what? So is everybody. So be strategic, but definitely make a plan. Don't just sort of wing it, because you could be waiting in lines, not actually watching any tennis, really. Arrive early. Like I said earlier, they do open the gates in the middle weekends 2 hours before. Just come early. I would come early for sure. There is stuff to do on the grounds. Players are already practicing. When I got here, there were players practicing. They have this sort of, Indian Wells, I think, created this, but they have this green lawn area where the players can ride bikes and do their warm-ups before they practice. I think in most tournaments, this is inside of a gym somewhere. In Indian Wells, it's outside here in the sun, and I think a lot of the players love it because it's gorgeous weather here. It's just fun. Who doesn't want to warm up outside in the sun? So that's also a place where you can just watch and see the players and things like that. But yeah, come early, I would say. Okay. Also, this is also just with the planning of the trip to come here. Plan early. Do everything early. Get your plane tickets early. Get your hotel tickets. All the hotels sell out here over the middle weekend, by the way, because Indian Wells is a tournament so it's in Palm Springs, in the Coachella Valley area. This area has seasons. So, for example, when the Coachella Music Festival is happening, they'll get a spike in the population. During Indian Wells, they'll get a spike in the population. Otherwise, there isn't much happening here throughout the time. It's a lot of retired people who live here. So I think a lot of people who actually come to the tournament don't all live here. They're either coming from Los Angeles area or somewhere else in California. They're coming from out of state. They're coming from out of the country. So what that means, though, is every single hotel books up really quickly. Airbnbs book up really quickly. So just make a plan for yourself. When I was booking my Airbnbs, I did it early enough when I was still thinking of maybe coming. I just booked them because I was like, I could cancel, get a full refund. So I just booked. Didn't even know if I was actually going to make it because I knew I could get a full refund if I did it. And that saved me, because if I was going to do it last minute, like when I finally decided I was going to come, I would have been paying premium prices and maybe not even had a place to stay, really. That was in an area that I wanted to go to. And to that point, too, I would say get a car. Ubers here, they are around, but everything is just marked up a little bit. I would, if I was coming here, and you can drive, I would rent a car for sure. It makes it getting around super easy, and it also means that you could probably book a hotel maybe 30 minutes away and not right outside the grounds where all the hotels are pretty marked up. But those, I would say, are my main tips for coming here. Travel-wise, if for a full breakdown of our tips for coming to Indian Wells, I would go back 2 episodes ago where we had a guide to Indian Wells and Miami Open. Listen to that. That will also help out in the planning process as well. I have one last clip of someone, Coach B on Instagram. By the way, I'll leave Will's information below and also Coach B's. But I love Coach B. He's fun. He's a character. He's a coach, so he coaches tennis in the LA area. And I've known him for, a year now. I met him for the first time in person here at Indian Wells last year. So I asked him what he thought Tennis Paradise meant to him. He was here the other night watching Alicia Parks, and I got to sit down with him for a little bit and just ask him what he thought Tennis Paradise means to him. So I'll insert that little clip here too. Like the U.S. Open. That was fun.
I love that.
That was really,
So glad
really
we get to
fun.
do it again.
But I'm
So
so
nobody clapping.
glad
Yeah.
we get to do it again.
Oh,
I'm in
sis.
your neck of the woods.
I know. I'm really living for it heavily. I love when any of us are near
Also,
any woods.
I like the photo that you posted. It was
Isn't it cute?
That's cute. That was a cute photo.
Oh, it was so cute.
Okay, so welcome. This episode is going to air this Monday, and today is Thursday? So we're on the second day of the main draw here at Indian Wells. We're at Indian Wells. It's nighttime. I landed here, and I immediately became at least 10% happier.
Right? That's what it does to you.
And I'm trying to figure that out. In our preview episode, when we talked about like our preview of Indian Wells, like going to Indian Wells and all of this stuff, I was kind of like, it's tennis paradise, you're just happier there, all this stuff. And I got here and it worked. And I'm trying to find out why. Why is Indian Wells tennis paradise? By the way, we are also we're looking at the big screen, so there's a lot of tennis happening here that we're paying attention to. But yeah, like why is it tennis paradise? At least, why is it tennis paradise for you?
Well, I hate to bring out a generic word, but vibes. And we're gonna start with that word. You know, it's vague, but let's really carve this out.
Yeah.
The vibes are really calming, very like low stress, believe it or not, although the players are stressed. But everybody's here kind of going at a good pace.
Yeah.
And as of now, it's Thursday, the crowds are okay, you know, the big matches, you have to wait a little bit, but that's the fun of it. Like, people are really rooting for the doubles and the single. Like, I've never seen people line up for doubles like this.
It was packed today. Like, every single doubles court was packed, Riley Opelka. But anyway.
Oh, I already tagged him in a post. I tagged him in a story today. I will be gagged if he saw it. But I was just saying, I have to be. I couldn't sit in the stadium, Anastasia.
Yes.
I had to be on another stadium looking over the top of the work.
Yeah, and here's the thing. You know, I mean, we're deviating a little bit, but hello, that's what we do.
That's what we do. Whoops.
I just feel like if you're going to put yourself out there and say things like he did about doubles, you have to be able to back it up and, you know, take the consequences, whatever they may be. Because today, if you're just looking at today, which was day 2 of the main draw, so we're not even deep in there. We're looking at first round doubles matches. First round.
Right.
Packed.
Yep.
Packed. Singles,
it's joyous.
not so much. But it's not, I don't like that comparison. It's not either or. I was talking to Will Boucek today, who he covers a lot of doubles, and he said that exact thing. It's not competition. Why can we not all do this together?
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? But anyway, that was a
Total agreement.
brief
Right.
aside.
No, and I'll go back to when I was saying about the vibes. You
Yeah.
know, there's a special kind of excitement here. And, like, to be frank, you know, there's a contingency of the more, you know, I don't have any of my grandparents left. So it's kind of nice to see a lot of, like, older people who are just, like, been fans all their lives and just
Yeah.
get to really see that. Because we're in Palm Springs, you know, people are chilling who
Right.
live nearby.
Yeah.
So the clientele that come here are just, you know, they just want to find that happiness and find that excitement.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see, and people, you know, asking me questions and who's playing and stuff. And, you know, I think it's cute.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and it's
no,
nice
I
to
agree.
see. It's just a
Yeah.
different age range that you would normally get elsewhere.
Right. I've seen, you're right. It's like, you know, definitely you get a lot of older folks here. We're in Palm Springs and all that, but you still get a bunch of kids. Like, I just walked through a bunch of kids getting to you here, and it's like they're all like talking and like, you know, doing whatever. What do kids do? TikTok? I don't know.
Right,
Whatever
yeah.
kids are doing. But
Not too many. Yeah.
no, but it's a very great group of different age ranges. But don't you think also? I feel like here, people just get the tennis more. Like, almost as a different level of, because you've been at the U.S. Open, and I feel like sometimes, you know, Will said this actually, and I completely agree, but sometimes at the U.S. Open, people are there to be in New York, and it's more of just like, oh, let's go to the tennis.
Right.
While here, it's, we love tennis. Let's go watch it.
Right. No, 100%.
Yeah.
And like, there's a little bit of a lesson value towards the glitz and the glamour part. It's more of the comfort over the glitz and the glam, and they do everything correct. You know, they have like the big courts and like but it's you know, otherwise it kind of feels like you're just in your backyard, but it's very big and it's bougie and you've done well with your life. It's very that kind of home, but it feels like a home.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. And of course, I can't talk about this tournament without talking about the views. I mean, that's like, it's like AI, but reality, thank the Lord. Because it's real.
Every time I just look and see those mountains, I'm just like,
No, and then with the palm
Never
tree, it's just the
leaving.
aesthetic is just,
yeah.
whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
Okay.
just, there's so many factors to its brilliance.
Yeah, there was a lot there that makes this tennis paradise, and I love that. Maybe there isn't one thing. You know, I'm looking for that one magic thing, but maybe there isn't. Maybe it's just the amalgamation of everything makes it tennis paradise.
And you're going to get a lot of people saying views, and I when I first thought, I was like, views are going to be a thing that you could do the edit, where it's like, views. The views are immaculate. Like, you just come on.
Yeah.
Like, for real.
We have too much fun. I just have to say. That's what you make it tennis paradise. There we go.
Sis.
There we go.
No, but that, like you said, there's many factors to it. You know, but, I love it. Yeah, it's a candy store of matches.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you. Thank you for letting me know why Indian Wells is tennis paradise for you.
Absolutely. I love sitting down with Ground Pass. Yay!
Vansh, welcome. Hello. You're on Ground Pass, Vansh, now. Like right now, you're on Ground Pass.
I'm honored to be on this show for the first time. Thank you, Anastasia. Took so long, but I'm here.
It took so long. I'm sorry. Okay, so we're here at Tennis Paradise, and I'm asking a bunch of people what that word means. What does tennis paradise mean to you or in general?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question because, I mean, like, Indian Wells is such a great way for the tennis community to get together. At the same time in March, I mean, you got such a gorgeous setting, you know. Fans are hungry after the Australian Open. You know, there's plenty of tennis in February, but nothing quite like this, where all the top players get together for 2 weeks. You got amazing practice facilities. You got the beautiful mountains in the backdrop. You're in the Palm Springs desert. You can play plenty of golf. You know, there's great resorts. There's just great facilities for the players as well, for the fans, and everyone just comes together and they just enjoy 2 weeks of sunshine. It's wonderful.
I couldn't have said it better. Have you golfed yet?
I haven't been golfing on these courses, but I've seen plenty of people do it, and obviously the players love it, and it's a great pastime for them. And
Yeah.
it's just a nice, chill, relaxed vibe.
So if someone wanted to come to Indian Wells, would you suggest that they do? Like, what would your recommendation be?
I would say definitely come for the early few days of the tournament, you know,
Okay,
especially
yeah.
the qualifying field here is always very strong. You get to see some new names, young stars, players having their breakout moment, and it means so much for them to qualify for the first ATP 1000 of the year.
Yeah.
So it's just, you know, I recommend those for first few days. The middle weekend is always packed. It's great. I like how the second round and the third round, you get a little bit of both on each days. And yeah, definitely get a grounds pass if you can, but book them early because, you know, getting tickets is definitely a hassle, and, you know, you don't want to be stuck in a position where you don't have any of the week off.
Yeah, because you were telling me, just really quick before we finish, you were telling me how, like, just a few years ago, you could just wake up and get tickets that morning, but not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. I mean, it's just a lot harder now. You have people trying to resell them and, you know, make some extra profit. You know, you've got some extra days in the tournament added now as well. So, yeah, I mean, the tournament is going to try their best to get everything sold, but, you know, it's become such a big event. You know, I was just telling you before we recorded this, it feels like the second U.S. Open.
Yes. Fifth Slam. It's real. Well, thank you, Vansh, for coming on to Ground Pass. We love having you, and we'll have you back for a full one, like for a full episode.
Yeah, we love that. Yeah, my pleasure. Anytime.
Bye. Okay, so we're coming to about the half-hour mark here, and I'm still going to insert clips and everything, so I will call it for this mini pod here. What does I guess I should say what tennis paradise means to me. I think Indian Wells has created a space that not only can you enjoy and appreciate the tennis, you can do it in a beautiful location that's very accessible. You just have to look and try. It is accessible. I know we kind of see the headline prices, resale tickets for $300, but $10 qualifying, you get to experience the grounds, players practicing. All the practice courts are very accessible, close to each other. They're the best practice courts for seeing your favorite player that I think I've been at anyway. And I hear from a lot of, because I haven't been to a lot of tournaments, but I actually was talking to a couple of coaches and fans, and apparently these are some of the best in the world. So I think they have created a space to enjoy the tennis, enjoy yourself, and just experience the game in an accessible way. And I think that is why it is tennis paradise. If you love tennis, this is where you come. This is your mecca, and I feel that's why I'm going to keep coming, because it's such a great event. So, gonna wrap it up there. That's it for me. What's coming up? What is coming up? So this episode will be out on Monday, and then Nick and I will be back the following week to kind of debrief Indian Wells and preview the Miami Open, which would kind of be in its first week. It'll be qualifying. I think will be done for the Miami Open by the time Nick and I come back. So we'll preview the Miami Open. We will do a review of Indian Wells and how it was here. I hope you've been liking our Meet the Professionals. The last week's episode was with Calvin Betton, who I finally got to meet here in person. He coaches Henry Patton and Harry Heliovera, who are the current Wimbledon doubles male champions, and also they just won the Australian Open, so really a great team to watch. You can find that on our podcast feeds, on our YouTube channel. That was really great. We have already recorded the April edition of that. Really, really excited for that one. Let's just say I cried. or I was so close to tears. I was trying not to embarrass myself in front of our guests, so I did not cry. But it was such an inspiring conversation, and I'm really excited to share that with you. But we're hoping we will be able to bring you Meet the Professionals once a month. I'm really excited for that. We're just going to keep recording them, bring them to you once a month, bring you the voices and the professionals that are not on court. So not the tennis players, everyone else around them, because I think it's really interesting to hear what they have to say about the sport too, and it sort of increases your appreciation for the sport. If you're liking what we're doing here, like, subscribe, share it with friends. It really, really does help. And thank you. Leave a comment. Those reviews on Spotify, the reviews on Apple Podcasts, all of it really, really helps. I enjoy reading your emails. Every time we get an email from a listener, I shed a little bit of a tear. I'm not going to lie. I'm one of those people where I'm like, someone's listening. I'm not just talking to myself. So yes, your supporting us helps me be able to come and cover these tournaments. And we're going to get Nick to a tournament soon. Don't you worry, because we want his version of all of these as well. So I will see you all soonish, yes. You can always find me online on social media, where I will be sharing the tennis with you daily. Hope to see you all soon. Bye.